Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about insurance. Insurance covers you when you have a risk of loss. A lot of people think of the common insurance policies: home, auto, renters, life insurance, health insurance. But as you take a look at this screen that I have in front of you right now, you can see that an insurance company will insure almost anything. They have people who do the math and say what is the likelihood they'll lose money, and then they know what to charge you. So if you take a look here, wedding insurance, that could be if it rains on your wedding day. It could be what if your fiance doesn't show up. That's the second one. You have alien abduction insurance. You have to prove that you have been abducted. There are more than 30,000 policies written for alien abduction insurance in Europe, and I'm not sure if it's available here in the United States, but I'm guessing it is. Lottery insurance, if you have like a fishing contest and the main prize is $1 million, you usually cover that by insurance. Sometimes the fishing contest would say if you get a new fish that is bigger than any that has ever been caught, you get $1 million. You would have was kind of a lottery insurance on that. If you have multiple births, and multiple births means twins, triplets, quadruplets, you can get an insurance policy for that as well. Bed bug insurance, I hadn't heard of that before. You can get food truck insurance, body part insurance. Stars use that all the time. Maybe somebody with a fantastic mustache insures that, or some of the performers you guys are familiar with that have fantastic legs, they can have those insured. As you take a look here, come on, you can see that there's all sorts of insurance that you can get, and it says right here on this one that premiums for these insurance policies are relatively low because the odds of winning is fairly obscure. So you can see that you can get some of the very strangest insurance policies to the most normal insurance policies. The Kiss singer Gene Simmons, that used to stick his tongue out, I think his tongue was insured for $1 million. But insurance is something that helps you through life when you have a risk of losing. Now, the reason I do insurance is it is part of my curriculum, but I also realize that many of you are 14 and you will soon be doing driver's ed as 15 years old students. Number one, I want you to realize your parents want you to drive cautiously because they want you home safely every night, every morning, every afternoon. Secondly, you have to realize when you're driving, you're responsible for your safety, all of your friends' safety in your car, and anyone around you that could be hit by you if you're not driving safely. Accidents happen. I've been involved in accidents, but you have to drive with every bit of caution that you can. And so when people say don't text and drive, don't talk with your friends and drive, there's a good reason for that. Your safety getting home is the ultimate goal for everyone. Please, you don't want to live with a tragic accident on your mind. So, with that being said, I will tell you that when I was young, I babysat for a family of 4 children. And one of the children, they lived in an addition where they raked their leaves to the edge of the road and the city came by and picked them up. That night they happened to be playing hide and seek. Thankfully I was not babysitting this night, and he hid in a pile of leaves. A 16-year-old male came along driving and thought it would be fun to scatter the leaves. And he did not have any bad intentions. He didn't know the boy was hiding in the leaves. But when he scattered the leaves, he also killed the young boy that was hiding in the leaves. I want you to understand, when you're driving, Always think about everything you do because it's important for you to be responsible. So let's take a look at what's next. When you go to your assignment in Google Classroom, besides this video, you will also find these questions that you have to answer. So I want you to take a look. It says at the top in red, answer the questions in either Word or Google Docs. Submit your answers. It should say not eBackpack, but it should be Google Classroom. Make sure you number your answers. There are maybe 22 questions. And make sure you use complete sentences for your answers. Make sure you capitalize the beginning of your answer and you use correct punctuation. Now, the instructions are fairly clear. For this first one, it says go to Google and search car insurance travelers. It shows you what it's going to look like. Here are the 8 questions. So when it says what are the 6 main types of insurance coverage, you're going to go to types of coverage. And then when it says what is the maximum for collision coverage, that's in there. So you'll click on maximum, click on collision coverage and find out what the maximum is. In there will also be liability coverage, and it says what are the 2 types. You'll have to find that out. Liability is required in Indiana. It's the only type of automobile insurance in Indiana that is required. Liability covers people in the other car that you hit when it's your fault. The state of Indiana says, if you get in an accident and you damage your car and you don't have insurance, that's on you. But if you hit someone else and it's your fault, you have to have insurance. Liability always covers the people in the other car when it is your fault. So, excuse me, you'll be able to answer questions 1 through 8 from this site up here. If you take a look at number 8, it says, what is a deductible? You can go to the frequently asked questions there. Down here at the bottom, it says to go to Google and type in report an automotive claim, travelers. You always have to put travelers in. Travelers is a type of insurance like State Farm, but they have some really good information out there for you to become familiar with insurance. There's only one here. It says, what information do you need to report your claim? 7 items. Okay, the second page of questions is about if you should get in an accident. So go to Google Chrome and type in post accident checklist, dmv.org. You'll be able to find your answers. A lot of times people forget to tell you what you should do if you get in an accident. And if you don't have a little bit of knowledge before you get in an accident, you quickly get anxious and upset and nervous, and you might not do the right things. The next section is go to Google and key in BMV, that's Bureau of Motor Vehicles, and type in learner's permit-indiana.gov. I want you to understand what your requirements are as far as getting an insurance policy, or I'm sorry, a driver's permit, and how much schooling time you have to have and how much driving time you have to have. At the very bottom, I want you to understand about renter's insurance. Renter's insurance is for people who do not own the home they're living in, they're renting it. If you own the home, it's called homeowner's insurance. If you have renter's insurance insures your property you move into an apartment, but not the building because you don't own the building and you don't have insurable interest. Something you need to know about renter's insurance. When you go to college and you live in a dorm or an apartment, that is considered a temporary residence. Your home here around Rushville is your permanent residence. You do not need to get renter's insurance. Your parents' homeowner's insurance should cover or extend to that apartment. So you can have your parents' insurance cover you, and the insurance company will give you a certificate, but it saves you about $300 a year. So just take a look through. You'll see all the requirements. I do want all 22 questions answered in either Google Docs or Word and put into Google Classroom. And you will need to make sure your answers are in complete sentences and numbered 1 to 22. The next thing I want you to look at is for a male youthful driver. Now, typically, male and female driver, youthful, that's under 25 years of age, will cost your family about, right around $100 a month for a girl and a little more for a boy. Girls and boys get in about the same number of accidents, but when a boy gets in an accident, there's usually more damage. So if you take a look at this, you have this coverage. This is from an insurance company I went to. Note at the bottom, it says, in a true situation, this person could not be covered through a standard company like Erie or State Farm. And I'm not promoting State Farm, but they're the ones that keep coming into my mind. If you watch TV, you see Liberty, you see the General. The actual cost of insurance sharing this young man would actually be doubled when placed with a non-standard company. The reason it would be doubled is because if we look up here, this driver has 2 accidents and a speeding ticket. So he's got some problems with driving. So if you take a look, if we're going to fully insure the car, it's $3,600 at a standard company, and this is an older quote right now, so it's probably closer to $4,000 or a little bit more. So it would be about $8,000 a year, because remember, this has to be doubled because you would be sent to a non-standard company because you have a poor driving record. How many of your parents would want to pay about $8,000 of insurance per year for you to drive? Not very many, you're right. And not many could afford it. I know when I had my kids at home, we could not afford $8,000 for one of our kids when we have 2 adults and 3 students driving. When you drive, it's your responsibility to be careful, to help your parents out. Some of you will have to help your parents when it comes to insurance, paying for it. Your parents may ask you for help. Sometimes I really like that because it kind of makes you feel more responsible when you're driving. You understand the cost of insurance. So this is what a quote looks like. And as you take a look at it, this is already an old vehicle. This is a 2005 Chevy Silverado. And when you take a look at how it is insured, remember your liability that covers other people. That is a pretty costly option right here. If you take a look, it says bodily injury is $250,000 per person, but the most they'll pay is $500,000 per accident. That sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. When you look at the medical field, I've had some tests that take about 40 minutes and cost $16,000. If you go in with some serious injuries, intensive care, the ICU unit, it can be, probably $5,000 to $10,000 a day. So it's very quick to get costs built up. Property damages for their car, or maybe if you run into a fence or, you damage somebody's property. So as you take a look through here, uninsured and underinsured is very important to have because a lot of people drive without insurance, and if they hit you and you don't have it, they aren't going to pay because they don't have the money. And if you don't have this, your insurance won't pay. So uninsured and underinsured, you should really make sure you have. These other options at the bottom where they take $4, $8, $24, that's usually just profit for them, and I don't usually go for that. So with this assignment today, what I want you to do is listen to this video first, open up the questions, and go to the site that I asked you to go to and answer those questions using full sentences. If you have questions, you can always email me and we can do a Zoom meeting, or if you send me your phone number, I'll give you a call back. Have a good day.